be here again. And I'm going to talk to you this morning, about the power of your child's imagination, because I believe in it, and I've seen it the last 30 years or so. When I think about what's going on in the world today, all the challenges that kids are facing, it's so much more than ever before. There's so much information, there's so much technology, and using their imagination, there's an infinite possibilities of how to manage, how to self-regulate, how to be prepared for education. And I've seen imagination help with so many areas. Like when you think about kids going to school and what they have to face in their lives, there could be a lot of fear. We'll see if this actually works. Yes. And I found that imagination can help with little kids' fears, although that doesn't look so little, teen fears, which are kind of enormous, and any kind of worry or fear that comes up that prevents kids from focusing in school and being okay and being ready to learn. And not only that, but I've seen, when I walk into a classroom and I ask kids how many headaches or stomach aches you have or how many get them, everyone raises their hands at some point. And that really prevents kids from focusing, giving their school the full attention. So that's a typical stomach ache. That's a typical headache you could see with the being pushed in at the heads. But I found through their imagination, and it's almost like beyond mindfulness is what I'm finding. It's because they're able to utilize and use their imagination to overcome no matter what's going on around them. Even is taking care of a rotting brain. So all these kids have found relief, been able to find their best, do better in school, all with their imagination. And I have to tell you, I started out in the inner city in South Central LA probably 30 years ago. I was a psychologist. I was supposed to take care of the needs of 1,200 kids who were depressed, angry, at the end of the rope. And I was supposed to help their emotional needs be ready to do well in school. But frankly, I'm thinking all I had was my degree from USC, and my good intentions, and regular stuff was not going to work there. And thinking, how could I help these kids? How could I touch their hearts? How could I touch their souls? So I was desperate, which was a good thing, because then I could use my imagination. And I found then, and still now, what's been so helpful is having them connect with themselves and their imagination. And it works across all ages, all cultures, all socioeconomic levels. Maybe not all, but I'm saying that's my experience. These are some of the guys I work with early on, and their lives are so miserable that I would take them to journeys to other places to give them a little respite from their life. And these guys are smiling. Do you know why they're smiling? Because they got some hope. I basically took them out of space, but this is a caveat. It was a place, it was to a planet that was more perfect than Earth, that was more fair, more just, more loving. And the people they met on that planet, and this is kind of key to grounding their experience, is they gave them gifts to help bring them back to Earth, like loving and caring and sharing. And these aren't gifts that I suggested, it's gifts that kids suggested. So I got it from them. They found out what they wanted to bring back to Earth. And that way, it gave them some hope, because they had hope to create a different life. And maybe they couldn't change their circumstances, but they could change the way they reacted to their circumstances. And once they had a vision for what's possible, they could start taking the steps to get there. And so they were pretty happy guys. Or sometimes I would take them up a mountain, climbing a mountain of success. And the idea is the mountain is like life, is a metaphor for life. I didn't have to tell them that. It's just kind of organic. And think about life. Sometimes it's rocky, sometimes it's hard, sometimes the path is narrow. But if you have help, if you have guidance, if you have someone supporting you, then you can make it up there. And in fact, one of the girls, like this girl, tracked me down. I met her in elementary school, and she tracked me down years later when she was in high school, and she was the student body president. And she said she always remembers that, because when she stands up in front of the auditorium, in front of everyone, she thinks about herself on top of that mountain of success. I kind of get the chills when I think about it. It's just, there was one other girl who went, and when she came back, she said she saw God. I'm really sorry I didn't ask her what God looked like, especially because she drew a picture. But I missed that, but that's okay. So we might ask, well, where do you start? How do you start working with the kids? Think about it. Think about where you are now and where you would like to be. And the difference. Like this girl who is just feeling miserable, having no friends, and she's all blue. Well, where would she like to go? And there she is. Her world is colorful, and she's happy. And again, it's such an important part of helping the kids tap into their imagination because, again, if you have a vision for where you want to go, then we could meet the obstacles and get some help with how to go over those obstacles and get you where you want to go. And this goes across not only for academics or sports, but even for bedwetting, I've used it with the kids. So anything that keeps a kid from doing their best, from reaching their potential, you could use their imagination to help them with that. Okay, so the first step. The first step, I guess you could say it's a mindful awareness practice. And I call it the balloon breath because it's an easy visual. Think about it. Most people know what a balloon is. When you blow it up, it gets fatter and bigger, and when it flattens, it gets flatter. So imagine that there's a balloon about 2 to 3 inches below your belly button. And when you breathe in slowly, it gets bigger and bigger. And when you breathe out slowly, it gets flatter. And this 2 to 3 inches below your belly button is basically your center of your body. It's in Eastern practice, it's the tontine. So let's try that. Let's try it. You might uncross your legs, put your pens down, and you might want to put your hands right by your belly. And this is really good if you have a big belly, then that works because you could really feel it going out. So just breathe in 3 times slowly. Breathe in and out 3 times with your eyes open. Try that. Good. Now try it 3 times with your eyes closed. Very nice. Open your eyes. Did you notice any difference? Yes, yes. Kids tell me that they're more relaxed and less distracted when they close their eyes because they're going inside. And that's the point, to teach our kids to go inside as a balance. That's where they can access their creativity. Not that there's not creativity on the outside, but I tell kids there's so much on the outside. Well, there's that much and more on the inside. And in your gift bags, in your gift bags you have these little strip of dots, gift from me, and the idea is you take a dot where it's a little bit stressful in your life. It might be on your desk, you put a dot there, or in your rearview mirror, or on the forehead of someone you live with. This is not coming off. Oh, great. Thank you. You can keep that. That's okay. And the idea is when you see the colored dot, it's a reminder to take 3 balloon breaths. That sound like a good idea? Who's willing to do that for like a week? Okay. The people that didn't raise their hands, 2 weeks. Because you obviously need it because you're so stressed out you can't even imagine doing it for a week. All right, so that's very cool. So that's the foundation for all the other tools. Drink water. And that's only like the first tool. I kind of developed over the years 9 ways or 9 tools to help kids access. So that's just the first tool, and the next, 8 minutes, we'll go over the rest. No, maybe not. But I will say that the next step, do you like him? Isn't he sweet? And you notice his hand position? Well, when I started in the inner schools 30 years ago, I couldn't use the word meditation. That's why balloon breath is so easy. I got really good at saying, relaxation, and later self-regulation, or anything with meditation, but now mindfulness meditation is all the rage, so it's easy to say. But his hands are in the mudra, and this is really a cool thing too. You put your left hand down, your right hand on top, and your thumbs touching. And that's a really nice way to keep the energy going in the flow of balance. So, and also it helps kids if you're working in a group, so they're not bothering each other or touching each other. But it really helps that way. So the next step is finding a safe sanctuary inside yourself where you can do your inner work. And I call it discovering a special place. And the idea is, it could be just like a respite from stress. It could be like a mini vacation. You can go to Hawaii, wherever you want, Mexico, someplace warm. I really like someplace warm right now. And that's where you do that sacred work. And it could be like a beautiful beach like this heart-filled sunset, or it could be a peaceful meadow, or it could be any place your mind and your heart, or your child's heart takes them. It doesn't matter. One girl had many rooms, and she had like an eating room, a playroom, and then she had a serious room, like with a table and chairs, and she said that's where she did her inner work. So any of that is possible, but this is the place where you can do your work. And then, I figure everybody needs guidance, or guides, and so what more fun for kids than using animal friends and wizards? And with Harry Potter, wizards are so cool. And if they're kind of above that or beyond that, maybe use a wise person instead for an older child. Doesn't matter, like you had a wise person come to you today earlier. The idea is that these animal friends and wizards are kind, loving protectors or master teachers, and they help you solve your problems. Like if you say to a kid, oh, well, how could you do better on that test? He might say, I don't know. But if his animal friend or his wizard comes in, like maybe if it's spelling, might pull in a spelling wizard that helps him with his flashcards. It kind of, what it does is it bypasses that defense system we have, that rational defense system, and it goes right away to that, what we think of as the right brain, or the intuitive side, or the creative side. And it's so much fun, because it's like tricking yourself to get unstuck, which is kind of cool. So, animal friends could be anything, like this very sweet squirrel. Take a look at him. He's holding a lock and a key, right? Do you know what? And then on the ground, there's a whole bunch of other locks. Do you know what that's for? It's to unlock this pressure that this 9-year-old girl is feeling. Pressure from school, pressure from home, pressure from her friends, pressure from within herself. But when you have the animal friend unlock those locks, oh my God, it just changed her totally. She had the confidence, she could calm herself down. She knew she could trust herself. She was developing her intuition. Or you might just have an all-around wizard who comes with this gift of a feather that when he waves it around, it makes all the bad better. Even Albert Einstein comes in. He showed up, for math and spelling, maybe not so much in English, but definitely for math and spelling. So no matter your imagination could take you anywhere, and my job, my goal is to help kids be okay. Not only be okay no matter what's going on, but to reach their potential, to thrive. You might even get a gift like this very shy girl of a speak up necklace. She was able to speak up in class, where she was always very quiet, and answer some questions, and she was also able to speak up to her friends on the playground. Pretty cool, huh? Now, half of the work I do is for kids connecting with these guides, and the other half is connecting to their body wisdom. And we heard earlier today how important, even Dr. Siegel was talking about the belly brain, the heart brain, and I love the mind, but I really want to connect that heart wisdom and the belly wisdom to get a much fuller wisdom. And so that's the next step. That's the whole idea. What does your heart want to tell you? What does your belly want to tell you? And you could do this in a moment. You could just put your hand over your heart area, and just ask, what is my message today? And get something within a minute. What's my belly want to tell me? I had a 4-year-old tell me that his belly told him, not me, told me also, but told him to share at preschool. If a 4-year-old can do it, you could do that too. So you might want to write down these, because you might want to make this a regular practice. And I'll have kids do this in the morning before they wake up, and what their heart and their belly wants to tell them. Every part of your body holds wisdom, not just your heart and belly. It's like every cell has something to tell us. I'm going to give you a glimpse into a teen body. what I love is that you see the typical happy, sad, whatever, but you also got a lot of teen stuff like bored and betrayed and annoyed. And the idea is emotions are all over. They have colors, they have shapes, and it's a great time to have a dialogue with it. Like, where do you keep your stress in your body right now? What color is it? What shape is it? And maybe look for a couple of anecdotes. I like to use 2 positive against 1 negative. So maybe it's love, maybe it's calmness. One boy was very angry, really fire in his belly. And what he found out that when he breathed in calm, blue calm, it covered over his anger. But when he breathed in love from his heart, it dissipated it. So he had that power in a moment to change and be ready to learn, to connect with people. Oh, remember those people I showed you at the beginning? You're probably wondering what happened to them, right? Well, the teenager with the fear, he drew a person facing his fear. You see that little guy up there? Because he felt that everyone has to face fear. And when you actually do, it's not so bad. Or the wormy beasts. These are wormy beasts because this boy was afraid his mother was not going to pick him up at school every day. So he would start worrying like 45 minutes before the end of school and wouldn't pay attention in class. And even though, of course, she was always there and she was never late, it doesn't matter because we know that emotions are not coming from our logical brain. So what he did was he negotiated with them. He asked them what color he asked his belly what color he needed to breathe in to put them to sleep. And maybe because he was a boy, he came up with disgusting pink and like a baby blue and mixed them together like a tutti frutti color. And when he breathed it in, those little creatures went to sleep, and they were sleeping so much that they eventually just left. Or the girl facing her stomachache, what she did was she got a special place where she worked with her best friend, and she had company to study, and she called in a wizard to help her remember what she was learning, and then soon she was acing the test. She didn't have to cry and scream in class anymore. Oh, the headache. Don't want to leave him out. He got a SWAT team to get rid of the bad guys who was drilling his head anyway. Or the writhing brain. This is a girl's writhing brain. A boy's writhing brain looks a little different. But what she did was she washed it all out with a white foam and sparkled it up and got rid of the negative thoughts and the gloomy bits. And beautiful. She had a flower. Now, right between that, that's funny. That's different. Could you go back? Right between those two, that's my, because I'm supposed to bring this all together in the next minute and a half with technology. And right between that, you have to see my 1.5-year-old niece already on a computer. And she's using an iPad at 1.5. Okay, but the idea is, how do we bring it all together? Because technology is all over, and the kids are using iPads and iPhones and everything. Well, I just use it with the kids. You know, like one girl who was a bully at school, what she did was she watched videos in her imagination, 2 videos, one of her being mean and rotten and watching the effects on everyone, because there's some power in it, and the other one where she was nice and sweet and lovely. And she decided she preferred the girl in the second video. She liked that girl better, and she resolved to start acting that way. So it doesn't matter if the kids are using CDs or downloads or apps. Apps are now really in. I have to get on the bandwagon. I just downloaded an app for a meditation bell, which is very cool because you could, set it for random times or regular times to remind you to take 3 balloon breaths. That would be perfect. So I want to leave you with one thought that another girl told me. She said, your imagination can help you heal. Remember that. Thank you so much.